Hello and welcome to 205 CDE Assignment 2 by Christopher Thomas with Pratt. Now today I'm going to be going through a few things: web server, security, data store, CRUD and NoSQL, and form validation. To begin with, I've used brackets for a lot of it because Coda was very confusing to me because of my dyslexia, and also because of forking. For some reason my code wouldn't work properly, but would work if I used brackets. Now, for our websites, we've used Google App Engine. The reason for this is it's a free system and it's very, very effective. You only pay for what you use for, you get free tariff up to a certain amount, and if you go over, you only pay for what you use for, and it's really, really helpful. It's also very easy and very quickly to deploy your files. You can quickly make a few changes and deploy them. For example, here I'm creating a project. First, you do this online where you register the application, and as you can see, you just input the then can go to my console, and there's a lot of useful things here. You can look at the traffic and even your data store. You also need to download the SDK, which by you create your application. As you can see in the bottom right, I have a list of applications here, and you simply click run and deploy. You will then get this box in the top left hand corner. This will then run through and deploy the website. You then get a app.yaml, a index.yaml, and a main Python file, as you can see in the bottom left. What you can edit these to edit your main handlers and add functionality and add pages even. You can post, you can use post, you can use delete, you can use all sorts of really cool things to use for the data store. Other elements like maybe a comment box and all other things. Really useful sites. It's also where you configure sort of, okay, go to this page. It's where you add in your pages. You know, like here I've used static files, so I can edit all of that there. For security, I'm going to talk about two main things. The first one is HTTPS, which is the Hypertext Transfer Protocol, the secure version. And what I mean by this is all communication between the website and the browser is secure and encrypted. This is very important for modern websites, as you need that layer of security now, especially if you're dealing with people's personal information, which my site is, because I'm asking people to input their names, their gender, their email address. So my site needs to be secure. So I ensured that I was using HTTPS. Now, another way you can add security is via user permissions. You can give user permissions in the console, as you can see here. I'm the owner, so I have the owner rights. As you can see, my Gmail account is linked and has owner permissions. That means I can edit everything on the site. I can also add other members if I want to, and I can allow them to edit as well if I desire. But I can also make them, but only allow them to view. And what I mean by this is, you know, as you can see in the bottom right, an owner can change project settings and manage team members. A team member I can then set to can edit, and that person can only edit the project settings. You know, that person can edit it, but they can't edit anything else. That's their permissions. And then of course I can also set it to only view. And the same goes for websites. You can have users on there that only view the site, so they can't execute files, they can't write files, and that just means that it's an extra layer of security that only people can only do on your site what you intend them to be able to do. With logins, you can have a secure part on the website where you have to have a particular kind of you have to enter a correct email address to be able to access the page. A data store is a repository for persistently storing collections of data, such as a database, a file system, or a directory. Data store is really useful because there's no planned downtimes. Like if your data store's down, so is your site. So this is really useful. Really useful that there's no downtime. Like it's always running, so you can always edit, you can always update, you can always your website's always working. Just a little bit more trivia about the website, about data store. Data store design. I wanted to implement a data store into my site, but unfortunately, due to some main handler issues, I wasn't able to get it working. Up in the top left, you can see just a quick example of what I want, the information I wanted, and how I wanted to store it in the data store. So sort of like, you know, I wanted to record their email, but I wanted to see how many messages they've sent in total on the first name and last name, so I could maybe post this onto the site and say, right, collect this, and then post it to the data store, and then retrieve it to say, right, hello, welcome, for example, and just a quick screenshot of my form. Form validation, I've done this in two methods. The first one is the HTML required function. And it is through a JavaScript. As you can see here, this script listens out to see if the field is empty. If it is empty, it'll put up a text box saying, your message is empty, please input your message into the text field. This is an example screenshot of the HTML5. It's looking for information within the first name field. There's no information, please fill in. Same with the email. However, if you input the email address incorrectly, it will ask you to input the email correctly. NoSQL, an App Engine data store, is actually a version of a schemaless NoSQL. Reasons to use NoSQL include simplicity of design, horizontal scaling, and control over availability. And that's really, really important for the way modern web applications are being designed. It's really important and it's really, really useful. And also, NoSQL databases are increasingly being used in big data in real time, which is a massive part of the computing industry at the moment. Just quickly on CRUD, mentioned it a little bit before. In my form, someone could post their name. I can then post that to they put in their name. I can then post it to the data store. I can then read it or get it, and then display it in a field. And I can also update it, and I can also delete it. So CRUD is really useful for being able to take information, put them into the data store, read it, take it back out, update the data store, and of course delete it from the data store. Really, really important.